Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to Grammy Award nominated, multi-platinum rapper and entrepreneur, Wiz Khalifa. Let's go.
I'm not smoking on gas, I'm smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times, I don't want to have bad.
That's the modern, I think, independent artist is like, they understand the major label distribution.
Yeah.
But the independence of it is like, do the records come back to me?
Right.
And I think the younger artists now understand that, where I didn't actually.
It wasn't set up like that before, to where you could just basically, like you said, license out an album, but not be locked into a, 5 or however many album deal. Like
10 records, 5 records.
Yeah.
It was different back then.
Yeah.
But the artist came, because back then, if you were like, I want to do a license deal,
right?
No one, they would laugh at you.
They would be like, hell no. Not unless they didn't think you were valuable, because they'd be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, if you have that cult following and you're able to sell, they're not going to see that, because they're used to having to promote you and put you on that level. But if you're able to do all of that stuff yourself, and they kind of like downplay it, then they would do that back in the day.
What part of your career did you feel like, or do you feel like you figured out how the whole thing works?
It was really when I figured out who my fan base was and figured out how to keep them entertained.
Right.
More than anything. When I would try to make songs for the label, or just, work with situations that other people thought were the best ideas, that never really connected. And it wasn't because it wasn't good stuff. It just didn't connect. It wasn't what was going to put me like at the top. And when I started making music for the people who I knew I was entertaining, then that's what was allowed me to block everything else out and just do what I thought was cool. And that's what took me to the top. Yeah,
because you really do have, it's interesting, you have plenty of charts songs, like most streamed song on YouTube or this or that. But you have, I would say, like, that's like one aspect of your catalog.
Yeah.
Is like, there's hit songs.
Right.
But then there's a whole other aspect to your catalog that if you go to your show, you see the songs that everybody loves.
Yep.
They like the hits.
Right.
But then there's fan favorites that feel like it's part of a group of people that have been with you a long time.
Yeah, it's a bigger story to the hits. I think it's just me being able to exercise my talents and my ability. Because if you put me in a position where we're writing a big song, I'm going to do well. But I don't lean on that to be like, I'm the dude who makes hits. I love music and I love what I do and I'm great at what I do. But I'm really, really for my fans, my community, and whatever they say goes.
Yeah, it's like it's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, yep.
I think you do have a way of including in your, says if you go to your Instagram, you're just living your life.
Yeah.
But you found a way to make your life also your job.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is very sustainable.
Yeah. I think I come from like the beginning of the social media era, and that was really what it was all about, is just being yourself and not really having the facade and all of that stuff. So like you said, I'm able to just live my life and that be the brand, which I feel really fortunate and blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say almost like you built a model, because it's unsustainable to do some shit that you actually don't really like to do.
Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff, it eventually like comes down, like it crumbles, or you could be successful and not be really happy, and that's not the goal. For my generation, just coming up and seeing the pros and the cons of kind of like portraying stuff that you're not. Like we know how that story ends.
Yeah.
So
you learn that. You learn that lesson from other people, really.
Exactly. We watched other people do it, so we kind of like figured out how to spin it. And me personally, just growing up in Pittsburgh, which is like a blue collar town, we don't really have too big of an industry or, anything going on there. So I'm really like level-headed with it. You know what I mean? And that's always been my angle, is being relatable. You know? And it's like, when you see me, I got jewelry on and shit like that. So now it's like, okay, maybe I might not be able to get to that level. But yeah, I started out where you are. And now I smoke pounds of weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to show people, like, you can not show people, but be an example of, you know, being yourself, being happy, being healthy, sticking to the things that you love and the people around you, because everybody still sees me with the same team as well as they see me with from before, you know, that I started with. Yeah. And that's all part of the story, is, you know, just staying down so you can come up. My perception of you, and we've known each other from around. Yeah. But my perception of you was always working class, real roots. Like, your team has been with you forever. Yep. You care about Pittsburgh. Yep. It's like, it's evident in everything you do. Even the jewelry and stuff, I would say, is more of an aspirational kind of, it's not even like a flex. It's like it's a bit more of the rock star thing where, like, well, what do you expect? Like, it's some cool, it's like cool. It's also tasteful and cool. You know what I mean? Like, there's some style to it, where sometimes you can see someone who just bought the jewelry because they thought they were supposed to buy the jewelry. Right. And it's like, who picked that for you? Right. Versus someone who has a bit of taste or design with how they put it together. Right. But I think there's aspiration versus kind of, I'm just spending the money how I think I'm supposed to spend it, because this is what everybody else has. I've always found you somehow, and I don't even just say in hip hop, but in entertainment at large, I've always found, like, you have always existed in your own, like, corner. Yeah. It's interesting. I do. And I think it just has a lot to do with how I came up and the time that I came up. Because when we first met, I was on Warner. Yeah. And, you know, they were kind of shopping me around based off of a single and things like that. And there was no way to really know where I was going to end up from those days. But after that, like, immediately after that is when I was able to, like, just lock in and just find my own critics. Like people whose opinion that I cared about way more than anything else. And as soon as I started doing that, and releasing music at my own pace, whether it was a mixtape, an album, a video, or whatever it is, I started to develop a confidence where I was like, I know what's up. Like, you know what I mean? And that allowed me to really, like you said, build that corner, that world, to where I can just create from there and not really be distracted at all. And even if I want to take a little break or take my foot off the gas, or I'm trying different things, I do all of these things with confidence, and knowing that, you know, the people who I'm reaching out to, they're going to understand it and they're going to get it. And, you know, everything comes from that. There's been a lot of opportunities that I couldn't have planned myself, whereas, like, I don't take credit for everything. Like, yo, I know this, I know that, but I am always ready for any situation, just based off of being really, really sensitive to, you know, my crowd, and just having a genuine love for what I do and love for the people that I do it for. Like, that's my inspiration. It's not the money. It's not #1 hits. It's not, you know, awards or anything. Like, when I got my first #1, I didn't even know what that whole process was. I was just having a good time, having fun. So a lot of the stuff that happens to me, I realize that it's the energy that I put out. So I just keep putting out great energy. Yeah, it's kind of, I see it as the, like, great example of, to find what it means to be yourself, and actually just double down on that every time. I'm gonna double down on how I feel, my intuition. Opportunity comes when we go forward, so I'm just gonna keep going forward, doing what I think I should do. Yeah, and you really do. You strike me as that. A guy who's just doing what he thinks at any given moment. You're doing what you feel. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not scared, you know, I'll try some stuff too. Yeah. But that's how we figure out, like, whose opinion is the most valuable. What matters. Yeah. And then it's funny because then you have your life that's, let's say it's like your work life, right? You gotta go, whether it's the music you're making or you're touring or
mean, you have a lot of shit going on. I want to know more about the MMA and the fighting because I think that's like one of the coolest aspects of you.
Thank you.
Because you're a very chill guy, but you also train and like I know you could like fuck somebody up
if I had to.
Yeah, if you had to. Not that you want to. But then you also have your real life. In the, not to say that's not real life, but then you have fatherhood. And you gotta, and that's a whole other aspect of life that I didn't know about until I was touring for 15 years, and then I had my kids, and then it opened up another, almost like a whole side of the house I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And I had to find the balance between who I am out here to the world or whoever, and then who I am at home with these people.
Yeah.
Who they think it's cool what I do, but they don't really give a fuck.
Right.
Especially if it takes me away from them too much.
Right.
So I'm always trying to find the balance of like how much I let that impose on, you know, the relationship I'm trying to have with my kids. Cause my relationship with my parents was broken. So it was very important to me that I like knew my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I know you are a very, super engaged father because I've seen you around. Because I think our kids went to school. Our kids went to the same school at some point.
Lower school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw you at Little League. So you're in it.
Yeah.
How do those two worlds mix?
I'm trying to think of like a cool answer, but there is none.
Yeah.
I think like
That's
just being
honest.
Yeah. I think just being passionate about both.
Yeah.
I had to learn to sacrifice on both ends. There was a time where I would be in the studio all the time, and like, you know, I would get anxiety if I didn't go to the studio.
Yeah.
But having my kid let me know it's all right to not go to the studio some days, or it's okay to plan it where, you know, maybe a week you might be heavy in the studio and in a week there's no studio, you know what I mean? So it's like preparing for those things. And then there's times where I feel guilty for being away.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like you just don't want to be away. You want to be there for certain things, or you call off as much stuff as you can, but then there's just some stuff where it replaces. I mean, you can't. So I had to give myself grace on both ends and just, you know, kind of not be so hard on myself. The time I know and what my intentions are, and that's the best thing about it as being a good dad is you care.
Yep.
And any dad that I meet who's like juggling it or can't really figure out what's going on in between, I'm like, you got the first step down. You care.
Yeah.
Like motherfuckers don't care, yo. Like they'll just go on and put stuff in front of it and be like, I got to do this and make excuses. But if you're like tripping and you're like trying to figure it out, that's the first step, is to care. And then you try to take action and you figure out what takes its place and what, you know, what that looks like. But caring is the first part. And I think, you know, the more conscious we are about that, then it all starts to, you know, line up how it wants to. And now I'm at the point where I can work out, tour, go to the studio, make content, hang out with my kids, get him from school, make sure that he's got his work done, make sure his clothes is this. And I got a newborn daughter now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm putting her to sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
you're back in the trenches.
Diapers. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, it all happens together. Nothing replaces anything. I'm not losing out on anything. And it's just because I care.
You're articulating something that I thought the same thing for a long time. The first step is that I actually am stressed about this. It just means that I care about how they feel and what experience they're having with me as their dad.
It's a beautiful thing.
And they're actually wiser and stronger than I'm giving them credit for, because when I explain to them I have to leave or go away for a month and we're going to figure it out, maybe I'll fly home on this day off or whatever, they understand it more.
Right.
And they understand what's at stake.
Right.
So I'm also making a living for their life.
Yep.
And actually, I think kids who have parents who are trying to balance careers and they're doing it with them instead of shielding them from it, they understand actually how life works a little bit.
Yep.
And they're the benefactors of it.
Yep.
I also think what you hit on caring is actually sounds kind of dumb, but when you tell an artist, all you got to do is care. Care about that thing more than anything else, and you'll likely have success.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with raising kids.
Yep.
If you just care about it, that's like the greatest song you'll ever be a part of.
Yep.
And if you're lucky, you get to be a character in their story.
Yep.
And they have some great story.
Yep.
But I always try to give my kids more credit that they're stronger than like some mistake I could make or some day I missed because.
Right.
But finding the balance is always the stressful part. You know, when you care about what your kids getting out of life.
It'll keep you up at night.
Yeah.
It'll have you questioning a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny, man. I guess that's the actual struggle of every dad. You know, like maybe there's some guys out there listening that would say like, oh, it's easy for you guys to say. Right. I'm working 50 hours a week at this job I hate, and I'm missing bedtime, and I'm getting up and leaving before they even get up. But that's the same struggle.
It is.
It's the fact that they care and they miss their kids and they're trying to figure it out makes them a great dad. It's a good point. It's the modern dad, though, I think. It's a different generation.
It is a different generation because we're able to tap into that. Yeah. Before it was just the dad thing to do, like, up, I'm out.
Yeah. Or I put a roof over your head. You're like, thanks, Dad.
I'm asleep, get out. Yeah. We're like, all right, I worked and I got to play with my kid. Yeah. And I got to take them somewhere like dope, and like, I can't just let somebody else do it because I know how much they care about spending the time with me. Like, yeah. And you want to. Yeah, it matters. Know them. Yeah, it freaking, like, yeah, that stuff matters. And it makes you feel so much better when you do it too. Yeah. Because you dig deep. You're like, man, I gave that shit everything that I could. And I just feel good. Like that's the reward.
It's a good tired.
It is. It's the best. Yeah. It's my favorite thing to do. Like, I've already proven myself that I could rock the biggest show and I could do a song and blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? So what do I need to keep running to go prove that to anybody for? I'll do that when it's time to pay a bill, or when I plan being creative. It doesn't have to it doesn't, you know, my passion for my kids and my family and just that balance and them depending on you and knowing that you'll be there, or knowing that you're not there, but you'll come back. Yep. They got to learn all of those lessons. Yep.
It's the greatest one.
Yep. Love the kids.
Yeah, we're lucky we got healthy kids.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
I always think about that. What do you think that part of your life, aside from just balance and figuring out how to make it all work, do you feel like fatherhood has affected your art?
Yeah, I think it affects my art, being a father. It doesn't make me like censor my art any. I think fatherhood, like I said, it takes the anxiety away from the art for me because it let me know that I'm more than just an artist. Yeah. Yeah, like before I had my kids, like that's all I had was my art, and
it was a lot hinging on that being successful every time.
Right. And this is just a new stage of being the same artist, but it's just handling the art differently. So the way that I handled my art in my 20s isn't how I handle my art now. But I'm still the same artist. Yeah. And I still create great art, but I just handle it differently. And definitely 100% having children, you know, it changed that. But when I do create, I would just say that to me, it made like longer periods in between like those big moments. And that's not even true, because when I was a kid, I worked forever, and then it popped off. And then, so you got to work forever again. And then so that's just what being an artist is. Yeah, never mind. My kids don't got shit to do with that.
I mean, I think it just makes you, because I think you said it, and I agreed with it when in my head I was like, oh, it just made me give a little bit less of a fuck. Yeah. What the outcome of that was, because when I go home, that's not who I am, and I forget about it. Yeah. And then I wake up the next day and they're like, oh, the song came out and it did this, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Great. And then your kid's like, it gives you something else to like. That doesn't define you.
Yeah, it changed me 100% doesn't in that aspect. You anymore. Yeah, like I'm not just an artist. Like I'm not just leaning on that. And I was thinking about the time frames of like when I create and like when I feel like I'm in my bag the most, but I'm constantly creating, like regardless, but I don't put so much pressure on that creativity. Like I don't look at everything like this is that moment. Oh, this is everything. This is the one right here.
Right.
Like I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I like this shit and it's cool. You know what I mean? I'm having a great time doing it, and whatever happens, happens. And I just keep that flow of creativity going until I'm like, oh, okay, now, yeah, we need to do a tour. We need to do merch. We need to do this. We need to do that. But I'm not looking at everything as if, you know, that's the end all be all when it comes to like the creativity and the art. Like I love my art and I love what I do, but my kids just help me to, you know what I mean? They inspire me more to just, you know what I mean, create just regular shit. Yeah. I don't gotta be crazy or anything like that to be inspired anymore. I look at them, I get happy, I listen to the music that I enjoy while I'm with them, and I think about how that stuff makes me feel. So I'm not really even creating from the same space sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be in a strip club, like creating from that space.
Different time, different age. But I do think that that's also just a lifetime of experience where you actually start to see how nature works. Yeah, you know, you've been in the environment so long, you can read the leaves. Yeah, you can tell what weather is coming. Yeah, you know what the different predators are. You know what the different food you can eat in there is. You know, like when I think about the music business and music and how that intersects, because we do just make art, but then we actually have to go do work, right? And we have to make decisions that affect the business. And any artist that denies that they are not an that denies they're an entrepreneur is denying themselves. Right. If you are not an entrepreneur in the music business, making a living, making music, you want to deny that you aren't a business person, right? Then you should quit. Right. Because this is a bit of a jungle. And the longer you're here, the more you understand how all of it works. Right. And you have these intuitions and these feelings. And you see what an opportunity is. You can smell it or see it, or because you've been here long enough. Right. You also know who's full of shit. And you move through intuitively. Making music is intuitive. Deciding the when, the how, a lot of that's intuitive. But then you also understand what a good plan is versus a bad plan. Right. You also know you need a plan for this thing. Yep. And that's a good business. Yep. And so you have your team and you built out a functional system that works for you. And that's why you can scale your business. Otherwise, you wouldn't be rich and famous. Right. You would be a trying to make it guy for 20 years. And, you know, those, God bless them. But they couldn't get it together. And you're like, I wonder why that something's not functioning. Exactly. But the intuitive, adaptable survivors, like we're just like, it's kind of like dogs. Right. Like we just get better, smarter. We smell stronger. Yeah. We know like we can, and we build businesses in this ecosystem of music and art. And also having a family could have been just intuitive. Yeah. It could have just been us going, we need something else to take us out of, or maybe we're going to kill ourselves. Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Maybe we're going to be go off the deep end. Yeah. Because the rock star stuff works in your 20s. Yeah. All that shit, the crazy stuff. Right. And then in your 30s, you start to go like, whoa. Yeah, it's not even appropriate anymore. How long can I live this way? Like, no, you can't. Absolutely not. Does good stuff happen after 12 p.m. at a strip club? Bruh, it's the too burnout. Many nights in a row. The burnout is real. What are the chances of the crazy scene happening and I'm there and I get caught up in it and whatever? You start doing the math. Yep. And then intuitively, I think I need to settle down a little. I need something to slow me down. Yeah. Take me to the next level. I think about that. It is. It's crazy because, you know, I had my first son at 25. So I was still figuring it out. That's young. Yeah, it is young. And there's a ton of stuff that I did when he was a baby that I would never do now. But I was in my 20s, so I didn't know no better. Same. So I was like, you know, I don't regret it, but I just know how much he helped me level up, because just thinking about that and knowing like, wow,
okay, this is growth, and it's because of him, and it's because I'm want to be a good human being.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, worried about anything else. So, that's like you said, that's what takes you to that level of sustainability, what you can sustain, what you can be doing for the rest of your life. That Rockstar 20 shit it's not going to last for your whole life. A lot of people try to do it, but their bodies just start caving in, and they don't feel good.
And it don't look good after a certain age.
Yeah, it's like, you could tell who's doing it too long and too much. And then they show up at the party and everybody shows them love, but it's like, dude's kind of cooked. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so we don't even want to reach that point. And you get signs, and then like you said, having a family, like, in the back of your brain, you're definitely telling yourself like, dude, this is where it's at. You don't necessarily have to slow everything down and stop, but this is what's going to take you to the next level of sustainability of what you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's like finding the balance with each era, phase, level. Yeah. But I would almost like, I'm sitting here and I've always respected your career, and I've always been a fan, and you've always been one of those people, whenever I've seen you around, the way you carry yourself.
Thank you.
I just have a lot of respect.
Thank you.
Because I've been around a long time, and I've gotten to see it all. So I've gotten to kind of make my own judgments on like what I personally respect or admire, and how certain people roll and how they move through the world.
For sure.
And just as an observer, watching you build a career and with your catalog, the things you do entrepreneurially, the different brands you have, it's all true to you. There's some kind of vibe to it that feels inviting, it's got a friendliness to it. And then getting to see you around with your kids, and then hearing people, right? Oh, he's the nicest guy, or he was this, my kid's on the team with him, or this. Like, that stuff actually, to me, it matters. When I always tell my kids, when we're at a restaurant, how do we treat the person that's serving us our food, right? Because I don't know if they grew up on my music, or even if they just know who I am. How we treat them is going to resonate for years in the stories they tell about our family. And whether you were wanted to be born in this family or not, you were born in it. And how we behave is you're representing me, I'm representing you. So if I was out there and embarrassing you, or vice versa, neither one of us win, and neither one of us will appreciate that. And we got to have some self-respect. And we got to care about people. It's not that we give a fuck so much that we're going to behave in a way we wouldn't, but we do care about people's opinions of us as people.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I watch how people roll. And I just make my own decisions, and I go, I fuck with that guy.
Hell yeah.
And that you're one of those guys that I've always thought, man, I fuck with that guy.
Good look, yo.
Yeah. I mean, that's not always the case.
It's not. It really isn't. And
I feel bad when someone doesn't get it. I think like
that's what I tell my kid, because he's at that age where he's like, he likes to joke and shit like that. And
how old is he?
He's 11.
Okay, yeah, that's when it starts. Like, my son's 15.
Oh yeah.
But they start
being cool at 15. Though. I remember I was worried about being cool. He's cool as hell. But he's still like figuring it out. And I'm like, you're privileged. You got a lot going on, and you're a charismatic dude. So I'm like, there's a difference between being funny and being an asshole.
Right.
I'm like, there's enough assholes out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I live by it. Whereas like, my job during the day, and not even my job, but I'm here to be a blessing in somebody's life. So if I come in contact with you, I'm gonna make you feel good. I'm not gonna make you feel bad. You know what I mean? Like, I did my job. I'm good. And I rub off on him and let him know it's a choice. It's a conscious decision to be, a blessing. Don't be a pushover or anything like that. You know the difference between somebody trying to get out on you. But just regular, any old time, you know what I mean? It doesn't take a lot. Just manners. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? How you feeling? Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Just the little stuff. And then, okay, now you add on, you're somebody who people look up to. Like, now it's even better, because they expect you to be an asshole. They expect you to be entitled or whatever. And you just show them the exact opposite. You show them how down to earth and cool you are. And that's way better. That's a way better interaction with people, no matter who it is.
It's weird having to have that conversation with your kid.
Yeah.
Same thing. I had to tell my kids, I'm like, they're either going to know who you are or they're going to find out.
Yeah.
Because your parents.
Right.
So your mom is, she's famous. It's usually about her. It's usually like I'm like the sweetener. I'm the bonus. I'm like, he's the but like they're either going to know you coming in. They're going to have a perception of you because your mom is so-and-so.
Right.
Or you're going to get there and they're going to find out. And so exact same conversation. Don't be a pushover. Have self-respect, but be a nice surprise for people because the world that we live in, most people expect you to be an asshole.
Right.
And you're not.
Right.
And so you don't have to put your guard up.
Yeah.
Don't be a pushover. You got to be aware of that because it's the same thing with boys. They're joking around, whatever. And for me, I don't know why, but it's nothing like growing up. I changed my mind now because I understand like none of us choose to be born in the families we're born in. But I used to have like a real chip on my shoulder with like, he's a rich kid. Like he grew up rich. And I had a major judgment. And that's not the case.
Right.
But you don't want to be the stereotype.
Hell no.
And I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like,
for sure.
And I think they listen.
They'll get it.
So they'll get it eventually.
They'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll get it. I mean, I think like, because when you genuinely want to be cool, that's what you're going to do. Like you're going to get pushed and pulled in a lot of different directions, and you're going to try to impress your friends, and you're going to try to, you know what I mean?
You have your moments.
Yeah, you have your little moments and shit, but that's how you learn. Like sometimes you go a little overboard, but you have to be able to be brought back. That's why I look at him growing up a lot different than how we grew up, because we would get punished immediately.
Big time.
Like if you did some fucked up shit, physically. It's like, yeah, exactly. There's no like, how the fuck, why would you even do that? But now we look at our kids like, okay, it's okay to make a mistake because you're learning.
Especially like a little mistake. I would get spanked. I would get like the belt for like
anything.
like what level of lying? With my kids, I'm like, nah.
You understand?
People lie.
Yeah.
You're scared. You gotta lie.
Boom. Bro, our parents wasn't saying
my parents were like, did you eat that? And I'm like, no. Like with chocolate on my face.
You don't even know why you lied.
Exactly. Just like, no. But do you think that the guy that you are, that I perceive and that I've experienced in the music industry now for decades, a long ass time, 2 decades almost, and from when you started to now, definitely, do you think that your view is because of you like growing up in a working class place? Do you think that informed how you appreciate what you have? And every time I've been around you, and we played that show with you, and it's a good vibe.
Hell yeah.
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
And you actually are checking on people, and everybody's good.
Yep.
That's a different experience than a lot of big entertainers. I've experienced much more guarded, much more closed off.
Yeah, nah. I don't rock
cruise.
like that. Yeah, I don't rock like that.
Is that just your growing up?
I wouldn't even say that it's my growing up, because I feel like everybody has a choice.
Yeah.
You know? And like I moved around a lot, and I lived in Pittsburgh. That's where I identify the most with, because that's where I'm from, my family is from. But I've always just had my own thing just as a human being, where I had a choice, where my environment wasn't really what I was going to become. So even being in Hollywood and being, successful and things like that, I'm not going to become what the norm of that is. Like, I'm still going to be me. Like, I always was just me, even when I was hanging out in the streets and there was a lot of people doing a lot of things that I wasn't into doing.
Right.
That's why I made music, because I was like, I'm me, dog. Like, I can't act like y'all. I can hang out with y'all, but I can't act like y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it translates through a lot of different things in life. Like, I want to see everybody do well, so I don't put people down, and I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. I got crackheads and thieves and, killers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not that. That's not what I am. I smoke weed, I make music, and I found my little things that make me really, really happy. And that's what I'm into. And that's what I put my energy and my passion into. And when it comes to like taking care of people and what my vibe is, I think that's like I was saying before, it's a conscious choice to not be an asshole. Like, I really care about people. I really care if you are all right. Like, I really appreciated y'all for coming through.
Oh, that was great.
And doing that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys took time, you drove up there. It was a really big moment for me. You know what I mean? So it was like, I cared a lot. And if you're around me, I want you to feel good. I want you to feel involved. Like you with your little brother, your big brother, or whichever brother you want to be with at the time. Like, I want you to feel like we vibing out on that level. And we all creative. We're all, successful in our own, world, whether it be, business or family or just the fact that we're all still here doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm very appreciative of all of that. Like, a lot of people take that stuff for granted and they just move around and they're just, they just think like this stuff just happens. I don't take that shit for granted, yo. I'm super duper appreciative. Like, I'm super gracious and just gratitude all the time. So that's what you get when you're around me, is like just all of that energy and just balled up in one.
And you think the weed has anything to do with it?
Definitely. Well, I smoke weed. I smoke weed, a lot of weed, because of how I hear music.
I've definitely got a contact ID.
Oh, for real? Yes.
Right now.
Sweet.
Which I don't really smoke weed, but obviously I have. But I always found it made me like not. And weirdly now I'm not tired, but obviously I didn't hit the joint, but it would just put me to sleep. Yeah. Every time.
You got to listen to music high, like. Just zone out on some music, bro. You ain't going to sleep. You'll be like, what the fuck? Like, just put some headphones on, like listen to a record. Or you don't even got to put the headphones on. Like, listen to an old record. Bruh, high as fuck. Be like, wow, that's why I listen to weed. That's why I smoke a lot of weed. Good movie, but you can go fall asleep watching a movie.
Right.
A good movie gonna put you to sleep.
Good music will... Listening to a record, you hear all the layers.
Yeah, you hear everything. Yeah. Hell yeah. But the weed definitely helps. I love, smoking pot all the time, but it takes a lot to recreationally smoke as much as I do. So I don't advise everybody to smoke.
Well, it's not. Everybody has their levels. I mean, I know I have friends who smoke a lot of weed. I have friends who smoke weed every night. Yeah. I got friends who, everybody's got their own. Yeah, that's whatever your schedule is, your regiment. And you work out? Oh yeah, every day. And I smoke. Is it all training, all fighting, or is it also weights and stuff? I do weights too. Okay, cool. Yeah, I lift weights and box and do hot yoga as well. Oh wow. 2 days a week. Yeah. That's really good for you. Yeah, hot yoga's the shit. I love that. That's my favorite one. Well, I think Muay Thai and boxing is my favorite. But the hot yoga, like, that's where I get to breathe and I think a lot while I'm in it. It's all quiet. Yeah, it just really centers you a lot. And it's tough too. You see like some old ladies in there, gangster, dog. Yeah. For real. They're going to live a long time. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the other thing I think about what we've been able to do and build lives doing, having creative be the center of our life. Mm-hmm. I do think that we have a younger age, we're not aging as fast. Right. Because I do think that it puts you in a different state of mind most of the time. Mm-hmm. And I do think that stress is like the killer. Mm-hmm. And doing things like hot yoga, I will do every once in a while. Mm-hmm. It's really fucking hard. It is. And you got to find the right group of people. Yeah. Because if you're in some class with people you don't know, sometimes it's a little too personal. It's just very wet. Because you're tripping too. Your heart's beating. You're like, man, I don't want to stand next to you right now. There's like, so you gotta find the right community. Because it's gotta also, it's different doing it in a room with a lot of hot girls versus like just sweaty guys. Yeah. I'd rather be in that room than that room. I'm the sweaty guy. Yeah, but that's fine. The best room is a nice mix, but it leans more, in my opinion, in like the hot chick room. Yeah, I personally just think it's just like a room that I can kind of like be less disgusted by. Yeah. Because it can get disgusting in there. If I'm being just really honest. Yeah, nah, for sure. I get it.
And every time people say how disgusting it is, it reminds me of how like sweaty it is in there, bro. Like
It's so sweaty. Let's say it's like 30 people in the class and 28 of them are like guys, and they're like hairy, sweaty, fucking, you know.
You're like,
I don't mind how I look when I'm sweating my ass off, but you know, I like my own brand. But you know,
you don't want to be in the salad.
So it's got to. So to me, it's got to be the right hot younger. Invite only.
It's a lot of nuts boiling.
It's good for you though. It is good for you though.
It's great for you. I love my
you live a long time.
To your credit, I only go to the one class. I would never go to anybody else's class.
Right, it's the same one.
Yeah, the same one.
So
same
you know
coach.
all of them.
Yeah, like I found my community. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, whoa. All right.
How you doing, Brenda?
Good job.
All right, Gloria, you're back.
Nice downward dog.
Yes, but hey, that's how you live a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And not enough people, I think, take that stuff serious enough.
Yeah. I think doing the stuff that you love in general keeps you happy throughout life, whatever it is, because the older you get, the less, kid-like you are. Like when we were kids, we used to just go outside and play.
Yeah.
Like just fucking run, like for no reason. As soon as the door would open, we would just be running, right? You don't do that as an adult, bro. Like as soon as the door opens, you're like, like you're walking, you know what I'm saying? So the more you can free your mind like a kid and just basically have that same experience where
just play,
bro. Like that's what's gonna keep us alive.
And that's where the best music comes from. I find when I'm in the studio or if I'm making anything and I feel like I'm playing and I'm having fun with the people, you know. And I think that's another thing that keeps us young.
Man, I'm laughing in the studio. Like I have to like relax and laugh. Like my shoulders have to be down. Like if we're like cramped up like this trying to make music, that's not even really creating to me. Like, I don't even know what that is.
Even like making that's your brand, right? How's it going?
It's going really well.
Yeah,
we lead in.
I hear a lot of people like it.
Yeah, we were the top brand last year, I think.
A lot of people smoking it.
Yeah, tons of people smoking.
Is it pre-rolls?
There's pre-rolls, there's flower, and there's extracts as well.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, we got like 5 different flavors we're working on, 2 new flavors. We're across it. We just joined with Germany.
Oh, wow.
We're doing Thailand.
And so you're producing there or selling there or both?
Both.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be sick, bro. Yeah.
Is that your favorite brand you got?
Yeah, it is. It's the strain that I actually smoke personally. So I've been smoking it for like 10 years now. And the weed game has just changed. It's gone like this up and down. But right now it's at a point where it'll probably be forever. So I think,
Is it easier now to like go on tour and like travel around?
Way easier.
It used to be really hard.
It used to be
back in the
really,
2000s,
really
even when we would even just go into Canada.
Yeah.
They would rip your bus apart.
Yeah.
And we weren't even like a drug band, but like everybody smoked weed.
Right.
On the crew or
Canada,
whatever.
They'll grab like this much weed
If
right
you had
here
it,
and
you'd
try
be-
to hold you up. But yeah, when I started, it was like the 2010s.
It was still hard
And it was still difficult
to get around.
Yeah.
So what would you have to do? Just buy weed in every place you went?
It was more like...
Or could you like find ways to sneak it?
We were sneaky.
Yeah.
I can say that now.
In the drum case.
Yeah, I can say that now.
Yeah.
We were sneaky. We were risking a lot.
Because now it's legal in most of the states.
Yeah, we risked it a lot because we had to have a certain quality of that shit.
And quantity, I bet.
Yeah. And it wasn't like we were gonna go without. Like we had to have it. So
And before, like, I guess like back then before social media, really, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna find some local
we used
dealer?
to go on Twitter and be like, hey, bring some weed to the show.
Yeah, I guess the fans would have been bringing you weed.
Yeah, hell yeah. We used to find some pretty decent packs like that back then because, it was the street market. So it was like...
It was a guessing game.
Bring the best.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, what's in this?
Exactly.
How often does a fan come up and say, I want to smoke weed with you?
Everybody.
Every day, right?
At this point, they're like, it's my bucket list to smoke with you. I'm like, you don't have to smoke. I don't want to see anybody go, in the wrong direction. Like back in the day, I used to just get people high as heck.
Right.
But like now I'm like, you sure you can handle this or blah, blah, blah. This is
the real stuff, kid.
I'm going to coach you through this. Yeah. Like just take 1 or 2 puffs and keep it moving. But yes, it's definitely like a bucket list thing.
For people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
I would say you're one of, if I put it in the, in the top, if we looked across the music history, right? And we look at like iconic bud smokers.
Yeah.
Right? Bob Marley.
Yep.
Snoop.
Yep.
Wiz Khalifa.
Thank you.
It's the Mount Rushmore of weed, right?
Yeah.
I would put, maybe you could put some more people on there,
There's
right?
way more people.
Yeah, but like when you think of iconic, like everybody knows that guy.
Yeah.
Like I can recognize him.
Yeah.
And I just think iconic and I think synonymous with smoking weed.
I gotta throw Be Real in there too.
Be Real, yeah.
Be Real too, for sure.
Yeah, Be Real, yeah.
Yeah. He's one of them ones. But like, it's so crazy to me because, of course, anybody in the weed culture respects everybody from the weed culture.
Yeah, it's all good.
So there's people like Devin the Dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Method Man and Redman.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs were one of my favorite groups growing up.
Yeah, definitely my favorite group.
East 1999 changed my life.
So these are all like groups where I didn't even know that I would love weed songs because I was just a young hip hop fan just listening to shit. So I'm not listening to it because I'm smoking weed to it. I'm just a kid. I'm sorry. I'm just a kid, but I'm connecting with the weed songs. I'm like, why do I like these weed songs? Then I became a weed head.
Then you realize.
And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm like, this is my lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. This is my lane. Like, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just pushing the agenda that I grew up listening to and already knowing and loving. So to be mentioned in that company and then be one of the top, like that's a dream come true for me. And it's like an honor, like such an honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was raised on such all of that game. Yeah. And I'm a product of that. Like they created me.
Yeah.
You know
like how many hours did you spend listening to those? Because the culture is one part smoking weed. Yeah. But the other part is music.
Yep.
The biggest part of it.
Yep.
And then it's like going to places and going to these like different places to celebrate it, some festivals, whatever. But as a let's say, like if I was a Grateful Dead fan, right? I like the Grateful Dead.
Right.
I think they're the greatest merch band of all time.
Right.
Greatest merch of all time. And they built like the idea of like cult touring. Like the Grateful Dead, they built the model. Right. But am I a deadhead? No.
Right.
But I fucking love what it is and I respect it. But I also respect a deadhead when they're like, I went to 250 shows.
Right.
Right. When I think about the weed culture, I've always loved it, respected it, listened to records. And when I was little, when I was young, maybe smoked weed and listened to Bone Thugs. But it wasn't like, it never became my lifestyle. But as someone who's been around long enough to the world at large, I'm saying as a pop culture kind of just customer. Yeah. If I put a Mount Rushmore together for weed, you're on it.
You're right.
It's fucking cool.
That's amazing.
It's a huge accomplishment.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
I smoked a lot of weed to get on there.
You smoked a lot of weed to be Wiz Khalifa. You really did have to earn it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's funny because it's not just all the weed you smoked, but it's the years and years of dreaming, trying, being ignored, being underestimated, being, before you get that shot and all those kids go, oh, I like him. Yeah. That song I like that song. Yeah. And you're trying to get people to listen to your demo or whatever. Yeah. All those years of trying, you could have quit at any moment, like a lot of people do. Yep. And then you get that first hit, that second hit, that third hit, you get the fame, you get some money, the hunger changes a little. There's a lot of reasons to stop. And you've put together a career that puts you on that Mount Rushmore. And it's a lot of fucking hard work I'm sure there have been moments after a hit or two or some moment where you felt like everybody maybe thought you didn't have anything else to say. The music industry changes over and over, but there's plenty of times and reasons to quit. And you've been doing it nonstop, steady at the highest level. That's probably the accomplishment above any song, is just how long you've been able to stay at the level you are consistently.
Yeah. I appreciate that too. Thank you.
That's virtually impossible.
I mean, I haven't seen too many people. Only other people I've seen do that is Snoop.
Yep.
And that's my biggest inspiration when it comes to that, because it doesn't matter what Snoop does. He does it top tier. It's Snoop level. And you look at things of value that Snoop touches, and he rubbed that off on me, where it's like, if Wiz is doing it, it means something. And I think the best thing for me is to be able to transcend and also be happy. And as long as I'm happy, you're going to see me, creating, doing all of these things. And if I'm unhappy, which I'm not very often,
Yeah.
I'm blessed to, you know what I mean?
Do you ever get angry?
I get frustrated.
Right.
I think everybody gets frustrated.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't know about anger though.
I'm the same. I can't even recall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Frustration's a good word for it.
Yeah. I get frustrated for sure, and people can sense and they can feel my frustration. But I'm a very level-headed person, so I try to work through those situations to be able to transcend and feel the ups and downs of everything and be comfortable with both. And sometimes the downs aren't really downs; they're just something else is down while something else is up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to do that with grace. You still got to be able to stick and move while all of that's going on.
You got to kind of dance a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because actually life is kind of cyclical, and a down is just a part of a cycle.
Right.
It's not really, I guess it's how we perceive it.
Yeah, it's how you perceive it. It's how you look at it. And it's what it's what you let it do to you in that moment. You can't be the type of person who, when it's visibly up, it's a party, and then when it's down, everybody got to feel it. It's like, nah, I'm playing my part wherever I'm at.
Yep.
And I'm still going to be me, and I'm still going to function. And, the validation and the things like that doesn't determine anything. This is how this moves regardless. And that's why I'm able to create at that level, and that's why I'm able to perform at that level, because I have confidence and just know I'm very confident in the things that I have.
Yeah.
I'm good with what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the things that I'm going to get, they're on the way, and the things that I've accomplished and that I've accumulated, it's because of what I've done. So
so it doesn't make you.
Yeah, it doesn't make me. It's like
that's what I feel.
Yeah,
I can feel that from you. Also, I don't feel a great sense of need, and I say need in the sense of I need to get that. In the sense of if I just could get that, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of that sometimes. I feel people can be a bit desperate to think that the answer to all their problems is if they have a hit record.
Yeah, nah.
Or they get that money or their car.
Yeah.
All that's great.
Yeah.
But it will accentuate who you are.
Yeah.
And if that's a person who is happy, it will make you happy. If it's a person who's not happy, it'll make you even less happy.
For sure. It's probably not going to make you happy. It's probably not. I'm a firm believer in whatever is yours is already yours.
Right.
Even if you don't already have it, it's still yours. You just didn't get it yet.
Right. It's on the way.
It's on the way.
Yeah.
It's yours. If you operate in life like that, then it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a matter of time. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's deep. Giving people tell me about the mushrooms.
Shrooms are cool.
Yeah, you have a brand, right?
I have a brand, but they're not psychedelic mushrooms.
Okay.
Because those aren't legal yet. But on the business side of things, we're getting started in the non-psychedelics.
Okay.
So when the psychedelics do
like
become
the energy
legal,
mushroom type things?
Right, exactly.
Right.
And you can grow your own. It's like a little kit where you can grow them and stuff like that, which is pretty revolutionary because, like I said, when the psychedelics hit, you'll be able to grow your own psychedelics as well.
How long do you think that is before that? For
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
I really believe in those.
Yeah.
You know, like microdosing and stuff.
Yeah, it's dope. I did a whole year just
Microdosing?
microdosing. Just
I did too. I did about half a year. I was doing like therapy and I was like going back and healing like childhood trauma. And the mushrooms, like the microdosing, I was doing like 3 days on, 3 days off type thing.
Yeah.
I really felt like they really helped.
They did. They helped with my social anxiety. Like I always had like a turn on, turn off type of thing.
Right.
It just felt weird where it was like either I gotta turn on when I'm out or I just can't be out.
Right.
But now I get overstimulated
Right.
by being like around situations where I feel like I have to turn on or turn off. And I like that feeling way more where I can remove myself rather than having to turn on and turn off.
Yeah.
Like when I'm performing, I love being around crowds and stuff like that. But that's why I felt comfortable like building my own community with my creativity because I never really felt like everybody else around me.
Right.
So when I did mushrooms, it helped me kind of like just calm down and just relax and just be like, you good, bro. Like, you don't got to turn on or turn off. You just chill. You be good. You know what I mean? So it reset me and like put me in a really good place and knowing like what I want rather than like, you know what I mean? What I feel like I need to do while everything's going on.
Yeah, I actually think it really is like something with your brain and the neural pathways. I really do feel like it does something. Yeah. To rewire something. Yeah,
and we all have a lot. And it was like permanent though. Like, yeah. And I don't have to do shrooms to feel it. Like,
no, yeah. Like I actually feel the same way. I can't remember the last time I microdosed. It'd have to be a few years ago. Yeah. It was part of like a therapeutic process. Yeah. What I got out of it, I kept. Like, it just feels like it changed.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the best part about it. It sticks with you.
It's crazy to me that it's not, no, I mean, I know a lot of people are doing it and using it, but it's crazy to me that it's not, it's not more, I mean, I guess it's being talked about a lot, but it's crazy to me that it's not being used more.
Yeah. I think that it's on its way though.
Yeah.
Like just from personal and seeing how much has changed. It hit kind of a ceiling. So we'll see where it's going next. But yeah, I think everybody's trying shrooms now. Like all across the world.
Just do microdose on top of microdose.
Just little microdoses.
Little at a time.
Here and there.
Don't go too far.
Don't go all the way.
I always tell people to like try a microdose. And then if you feel like you could add another dose on, that's fine.
Boom.
And then you can just backwards. Stack them. Yeah, you can't go backwards. yeah. What about your album?
Kush Orange Juice 2. I'm really excited about it. I started the first one as a mixtape. Yeah. This was back when like mixtapes was the things. I think it came out in 2010. And it was probably like arguably one of my most legendary, projects and just concepts in general. It connected like a lot with just a certain demographic of fans that at that time wasn't really being spoken for like on a big level. So it like made that, the thing to do at that time. So for me, I feel like I'm at another point in my career where I get to fill a void.
Right.
And you have to wait. You have to pick that shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you kind of feel it.
Yeah. So I've thrown a couple shots, you know what I mean? Like here and there, just having fun and filling it out and just being involved. But this go around, I really feel like there's a connection and there's a space for, what I bring to the game on a personal level, not even just on like trying to be on the radio or trying to, get a #1 or any of that, but this is really just what I feel like the game needs.
Yeah.
So I decided to call this collection Kush Orange Juice 2 and present it in the same, format that people are really, really used to, seeing me engage in.
So it's out.
Kush Orange Juice is out.
It's out.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite song?
I think my favorite song on there would have to be,
or like the handful like that you're just like, those are my shit. Those are the bangers for me.
Anything that Cardo produced on. I got Cardo on the album. I got Sledgeman on the album. I got Problem on the album. I got DJ Quick on the album.
Oh wow. Favorite feature?
Favorite feature, Max B. Yeah, Max B is my favorite feature on there. Anybody who knows how this thing has, how this story has been written, Max B is a huge part of that story. And he's in jail. He's coming home. But the fact that he's on there is legendary.
Yeah.
So that's like a good, what's that? A wow moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. That's great. Hey, what about a tour?
We're going on tour pretty much now.
Okay.
I'm gonna do like a small intimate run.
Cool.
Beforehand, just to really just engage with people and I love being out there on the road and doing different side shows. I was in Europe and this girl, she was like, man, I went to this concert and there was only 1,500 tickets and I was so mad I couldn't get one. I was like, that's dope, man. Like, to only have a certain amount of tickets rather than it being like so many and everybody being there.
Yeah.
So it kind of inspired me to do a little experience.
Yeah, those little club shows mean a lot.
They do, man. They really do. And it's part of the process of gaining new fans.
Yeah.
And like just creating moments, like you said, that last forever in people's minds.
Yeah.
They remember that shit.
You taking Mark Holloway on the road?
You love Mark, yeah.
Bro, Mark is one of my best friends.
Yeah, I know.
So we started, for anybody listening that don't know who Mark Holloway is.
That's so crazy that between us and then we have Mark Holloway.
He's the whitest, dorkiest dude
cool
on the planet. Mark Holloway was my tour manager, also one of my best friends. We met on tour way back in like 99, 2000. And he's your tour manager.
Yep.
So he's one of my best friends and oldest friends. If I look back at who are my oldest friends, he's probably my oldest friend. I don't have a lot of old friends from home. I didn't really like have friends like that growing up. So all my friends happened when I was like 18, 19, when I went out into the world and started touring and trying to make it. So Mark is, he's one of my oldest friends and he's been working with you for a long time now.
Like 10, 12, I don't know, over 10 years, I think.
And I have to say, one of the coolest things, we had one show. We were playing one show last year, and you let him jump off tour or wherever you guys were at and come do the show for us. That was very cool.
For sure,
we
man.
appreciate it, man.
We're family, dog.
Yeah, man.
Bro, even just you saying Mark Holloway is just like brings up feelings, bro.
Yeah,
like,
Mark's a good guy.
That's my guy, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's my family right there.
He's one of those, I know for me, just working together, but just as a friend.
Yeah.
Mark was there when my kids were born. He's been with me in a lot of me and vice versa, me with him.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that will show up.
Oh yeah.
If you need him.
He's there, always there. And everybody that I know through or meet that knows him, they're like, Mark loves you, bro.
Yeah, he loves you. He loves you. Yeah, he works for you, with you, but I can tell he wouldn't be there.
That's exactly what
if
everybody
he didn't,
says.
like feel how he felt.
That's exactly what everybody says. They're like, he doesn't have to do this. Like,
yeah, he doesn't. Like he does what.
Yep.
Like he's a guy who does what he believes in.
Yep.
Like always.
Yeah.
And he fucking loves you.
Yep. I get it. Very
so that
happy
says
for
a
Mark.
lot.
Very happy. Very, very appreciative
about
for
both
Mark.
of you.
Thank you.
Because I've known him a long time, man. Mark is he's a tough customer. He's his own.
Yeah.
He's his own guy.
Yeah.
But for the size and the amount of respect he has for you and love he has for you, says a lot.
He holds it down, bro.
And I see why, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having me,
Man,
bro.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad we got it done. This is the second time we had to reschedule,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, all good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But thank you for getting it
Bro,
done.
thank you.
I wanted to make sure we did this.
Thank you.
It meant a lot to me. You
Thank
mean a
you.
lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Absolutely.
All right. Good luck with the record.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to Artist Friendly. We really appreciate it. If you like the show, you can also follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram at artist.friendly. And you can watch us on YouTube and Veeps. Leave comments. I always read them. See you next time.